Welcome to the Enlightenment Day 2025. We're delighted to have you in our global community. Enlightenment Day is dedicated to upholding the ancient spiritual traditions all over the world in the right light, preserving their integrity while introducing the lost ancient wisdom. Today's theme is Dharma. We are going to explore what it means to live by Dharma, aligned by Dharma, and what are some of the ideas we can think about during the era of Adharma. What can we do to live in alignment with Dharma? Our first speaker is Yogi Surajnath Guru Buddhanaj Ji. I am sorry about this name, my pronunciation.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, okay.
Surajnath Guru Buddhanath. Yes.
Okay. Yogi Surajnath Guru Buddhanath Ji is a revered Nath Siddha yogi from the ancient Gorakhnath lineage, a timeless path of realization founded by the great Guru Gorakhnath. Rooted in the wisdom of the Siddha and Nath traditions, known as the Yogi Panth or Path of Realization, he embodies the living essence of this sacred heritage. Yogi Surajnath Ji dedicates his life to inner discipline, yogic practice, and the transmission of direct spiritual experience, guiding seekers towards self-awareness, inner stillness, and radiant union with the divine light. Yogi Surajnath, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Lee. So within my time of about 20
I think we
minutes.
need to turn the camera the other way.
Let me. Wait. Please
Maybe
guide
turn
me
your
about.
phone
Is
around
it
the
right
other
now?
way. Yes.
Is it right now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I hold it. All right. So thank you very much for giving me time to speak on this matter of religion. My point is dharma or dhamma, religion. And let us know about this one a bit before going into the subject to the point. This dharma or dhamma or yoga or religion or deen, in itself, these words are all the synonymous, the same thing. And when any label gets attached with these words, such as this dharma as Vedic or Hindu, or religion as Christian, or deen as Islam, and so on, then religion or deen or dhamma goes away, and some tradition in the name of religion gets in. So, avoiding any traditions, though we may quote traditional scriptures, but at the same time, not depending on and avoiding any authority and dependency on texts, book authority, texts or persons, we enter into the subject. So here I take to know about a religion or dhamma is to know about the mind, because each and every mind or consciousness, we have to know each and everything by the mind or by the consciousness itself. And the consciousness or the mind as a whole is a machinery, combined machinery of sense organs, 6 sense organs: touching, seeing, listening, thinking, smelling, etc. So all these combined work and functioning of these machinery, sense organs, is the functioning of the mind or consciousness. And unless we learn about this functioning, these sense organs, this mind, this consciousness as a whole, to the point, directly, we can never know we cannot know about a religion or deen or dhamma or dharma. We cannot know. We can know some specialty, some subject, but religion or dhamma and our consciousness cannot be separated They are inseparable. And since this consciousness is movement apparently, everything is changing. This book of the mind, the language of feelings, all the sense organs attached here, and the expressing these sensations expressing themselves in this face. So face is naturally a key to hold this language of feelings, universal language, and know about the consciousness and its in its movement. That way, let me quote here a Sabadi, the saying of Goraknath, a saying from Goraknath. चंत अचंत ही उपजय चंता सब जुग क्षीण जोगी चंता बिसरे तव होई अचंत ही लीन. Translation by Bhagwan Nath and myself, Yogi Surajnath. Thought arises from non-thought. Thought is the sorrow of ages. The yogi gives up thought and is absorbed in non-thought. So thought and non-thought, these are the two key terms here. And thought or thinking is a sense of the sense organs, which has capacity to think on the basis of the past. If there is no past data, memory, record, then this thinking organ cannot think. So it works on the basis of time, past, memory, data, record, without which our daily life is impossible. So this is the main functioning of thinking that we need on daily life. But since, as we see it, apparently it works on the basis of the past, known, memory, record, it is movement in time. It is movement from and in time, apparently. And this functioning, this sense organ cannot go beyond itself, beyond time, beyond thinking. It has no potential to come unto and live in the present moment, moment to moment. No potential at all by nature. So this is one thing of our consciousness as a whole, which in most of human beings has become dominant, and that is and since it is time past, the moment in time, moment of time, our consciousness is kept in time by this. So what time is? Then time is past, future, not present, not life. This thinking capacity cannot come into touch with, in contact, face to face with life as it is. This is basic. And then the other sense organs, these eyes and ears and this touch and this smell and etc., all these five sense organs, they don't think. They just pursue. They just pursue sensory perceptions from within and around. And that sensory perceptions, as Buddha explains this mind mechanism very intricately, clearly, then passed on to inner mechanisms, inner functionings of the mind. That is first contact through sense organs, one of the any of the sense organs. Then it's cognition, recognition of that sense, what sensory perception, whether this is tree, this is all, this is book, this is this color, this is that, this or that, like that. Recognition and evaluation. So this evaluation is and recognition is on the basis of the past known data, automatic. Then accordingly sensation, feeling. And if we two people are together, so looking into something, same thing coming up to us. Some person has come to us and we two are together, and then he is my friend or he or she is my friend, and this other person is not so friend or enemy, like that. Then for the same person at the same time with the same contact perception that acting and recognizing and evaluating, for the same person in the two different persons at the same time, there can be different feelings, sensations, that is arising of sensation, feeling out of our contact and out of our contact, evaluation and recognition. This is mechanical. This is mechanical. So to the point, all these sense organs, They just sense, they just catch something, sensory perceptions. They don't think. They don't think. So all these sense organs except thinking is non-thought. And that is the most part of our body, most part. This thought thinking, a little part, one sense organ out of the 6. And the rest of the 5 sense organs are all the body, all the mind, all the consciousness. So this is possible for each and every person to see directly, even if he has this knowledge of scriptures or this psychologists or psychiatrists, etc. But each and every average person can know this basic easily and naturally, directly. So when Gorakh says that Chanta achanta hi upaje, the thought arises from non-thought. This thinking is a part of this all body-mind machinery. All body-mind machinery is a combined functioning of sense organs. So thinking is a part of this all these organs. And most of the sense organs are non-thought. They are what the body and mind, all of the consciousness, most of the consciousness is. So this thinking is a part of non-thought mechanism. Thinking comes out of this non-thought body-mind mechanism. But thinking takes over, dominates. It has capacity to imagine, to design for daily functioning on the basis of the past known. But it cannot come into and live in the present moment. No, it has no potential. So when this thinking understands its place in daily life, that daily life is impossible without it, but it has no potential to come unto and live in the present moment, then thought has found, or thinking sense organ has found its place, right place. So it becomes our friend, not a matter of this perpetuation of sorrow or something as enemy, sin, sorrow, keeping on. No, not like that. But when it has found its place, that it is moment in time, and by itself, any maneuvering of it, maybe designing God, Allah, Ishwar, Atma, Paramatma, Paramanent, and whatever it desires, whatever things it may design in the name of religion, they are all but this first day and last day, and this Atma, this Adinath and Hiranyagarbha and Adam and Eve and Adam and Hawa, and etc. All those things, various gods and goddesses, and God, the God, even any idea about that, they are just projections of this thinking mind which works on the basis of the past. So our gods and goddesses, our God, the God, our last day, our first day, they are all dead things, dead stuffs. So when thought understands its place and limit, that it cannot come unto, it can design, but it cannot come unto and live in the present moment, then it has found its place. And that is what the alak sense is. Siddhas and Buddhas, the Gorakh, the Siddhas say about alak, lakham. Lakha means lakhana. Lakha is from lakhana, to see. So lakha, lakhita, lakha hua, having seen. And lak means no, not, without, like that. Negation. So negation of the seen, negation of the known, by knowing its place in daily life and its limit otherwise, that is the alak sense. So with the alak sense, keeping this thinking organ in its place, backing it, this chattering goes on in the present moment. We can be coming to present moment again and again, with free from ideas and beliefs, traditions, and that all that things. So in a way, rubbish in the name of religion, even when they are right, the philosophy is grounded right, but in itself these are just words, they are not the fact. So to come to the fact of life as it is, we need to give up thought thinking and be knowing about, look, very important thing. We feel life through sense organs in the body, on the body. There is no other way. We feel life from within and around through the sense organs in the body, on the body. And if we are when we are aware of the body, we are aware of life and its movement as it is. If not so, otherwise, we in time, in past, future. We are in thought, thinking. This is so simple, basic, fundamental. And you understand this, and you are free from thought and time by using it as it becomes friendly. Gorak says in another sabadi, this right insight is wisdom. That is Guru. And this consciousness as a whole is disciple, in which this thinking brain, thinking mind, mana, is fellow, coordinate friend. And therefore, Gorak goes, Gorak roams alone. Alone means all in one. All in one with this feeling life, sensing life, observing life, and that way observation is itself learning. So this thought thinking, it has its place and limit. And this otherwise, this non-thought, all these sensations, they just feel, they sense, they don't think. So when thought is backed, understood its place, so it can back itself. And when thought has backed itself, there is nothing to be other than to be aware of what is being felt, sensations, feelings, expressions. And you see, this language of feelings is universal language. This is the book of life, the book of mind, consciousness. And by nature, it expresses whatever we feel through the sense organs, that creates some sensational wave, and that sensational wave sums up into the face as feelings, expressions. And in the face, by nature, this face is very more sensitive to express feelings by nature. And this language of feelings is so that the language of words and pictures can be different in different persons, different terrains, different states, and different animals. These birds and these cats and humans have different languages. But the language of feelings, the language of expressions is the same throughout all beings. Humans and creatures and animals and birds and plants and whatever visible, invisible beings. Language of feelings is universal. And further, we can commit mistakes to know about feelings, sensing feelings into other persons. But there is no possibility of committing mistake for a sensible person, average persons, any average persons, to feel life, to feel this language of feelings, to feel feelings within oneself. There is no possibility of mistake. It is not necessary to label what feelings are, just being aware of. And when we are free from thought and thinking, and is aware of this language of feelings, this you see, and by nature, this breathing is there. So when you are aware of breathing, you are aware of expressions and sensations and tensions from within and around as well. Things from around as well. Things in the body and sounds and etc. from around as well. You are naturally aware. Further deep, the sensation in this point in the center of the upper lip. This is an ever vibrating. This is an ever vibrating point by nature. It, otherwise you can be aware of breathing and easily and naturally of breathing rest. Otherwise, the sensation, this is a burning fire. When you are aware of the sensation, this with the awareness of breathing, there can be the strengthening of samadhi, the steadiness of mind. But with the awareness of the sensation in the center of the upper lip, it is penetrating into the consciousness, and things of consciousness start boiling, coming up fastly. And with this awareness of this moment to moment awareness of this, again and again coming to it, despite chattering, focusing here, you are aware of life and its movement from within the body, in the mind, as it is easily and naturally. And that way, not the action of, when that thought is in action, desire is included in thought, then the becoming, bhava, becoming, sorrow, ignorance. And when this attention is in operation, this is fundamentally different capacity. Presence of the mind, rest of the sense organs know only presence. When thought has taken its place and back, then presence of the mind, that is attention, observation, without any ideas and beliefs, touch of it. So it is fresh, it is bala, it is innocence, not ignorance, it is presence. And in that, there is the awakening of mystery, bodhi, intelligence, panya. And in the in the light of that bodhi, in the fire of bodhi, intelligence, the fire of presence, attention, again and again coming to it, without beliefs and ideas, there is another action of presence, of innocence, of freshness, beyond time, the action of timelessness. And timelessness is the ending of time. Timelessness is capable to end time, sorrow, and ignorance. Time cannot end time. Time can design time and can keep us becoming in with ideas and beliefs and traditions and all that rubbish we see throughout the world. So, okay, I have been informed that there were 2 minutes a little earlier. All right, our subject is almost complete. So, if anybody wants to ask any questions, any queries, they are welcome. They are welcome.
Thank you, Yogi Surajnath, for your passionate speech. The audience, do you have any questions for Yogi Surajnath? Feel free to ask your question. No problem. We're now going to move into the second speaker. Allow me to share my screen.
Eun, let's talk to you for a bit. Tell us what this is about and what you are hoping from this. Tell us about you.
I am here to host the Enlightenment Day event. I am nobody.
And you are everybody.
Yeah, I'm everybody. I'm nobody. And I would love to introduce Raja Choudhury. And I am, what I know of myself right now, I'm just passionate about bringing everyone together and hearing from your voices. Raja Choudhury.
That's great.
Yes. Raja Choudhury is known as Rajada, is an award-winning filmmaker, spiritual teacher, and a global voice of modern awakening, blending ancient Indian wisdom with contemporary science and humor. He guides people to discover the guru within, founder of 8,000 Suns Academy, and creator of the upcoming 𝗪𝗪 app. Rajada's TEDx talks and PBS film America's First Guru have inspired audiences worldwide. Raja, over to you.
𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗃𝗃, 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗃. Greetings, everybody. How are you? How's everybody doing? I see a lot of my friends are here also, so I'm very happy. And good. Nice to have a good, big audience. And thank you, Yogi Surajnath, for your, I am a big fan of Matsyendranath and Gorakshanath, so I love your work. So blessings and pranams to you, sir. Pranams to you. Pranams to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
My name is Rajada. Everybody calls me Rajada. And, I wanted to talk today about the evolution of human consciousness, because we have a problem in the world today, massive problem, a disconnect. We're disconnected from each other. We're disconnected from nature. We're disconnected from our old religions. We're disconnected from our families. We're just disconnected, and huge problem for us. And I'm a modern mystic. I go around the world talking about this stuff. And thank you, Eun, for inviting me today. Thank you. Blessings to you. And, when we talk about Dharma, the most important thing to talk about Dharma is obviously the Mahayana tradition of the Bodhisattva. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I just want to just tell you about that a little bit, because the Bodhisattva path means that rather than experience enlightenment, the Bodhisattva sacrifices nirvana to return to the world to help sentient beings. This is the big Bodhisattva way, right? So all of us are potentially Bodhisattva. If we want to help the planet, if we want to help each other, if we want to do something important. Because how can I go for my own awakening if you are suffering? It's not possible, right? It's not possible. That's a very selfish path to enlightenment, to just disappear into nirvana or to mahasamadhi and vanish. What a terrible idea. When you are suffering, when even one person is suffering in the world. One person, right? But what I want to talk to you about is an experiment that we're a part of, and I want to share with you. Can I share my slides? Would you mind if I showed some pretty pictures? All right. Okay, thank you. Can you see it? 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗶. Hold on, I'll just put it on. 1 second. You can see the slide, 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗶? Yay! So I'm going to talk to you about a very unusual concept today that in spiritual terms we call supermind, which was developed in Pondicherry in the 1912s and then in the 50s, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But let's look at where humanity seems to be going with this idea of mind, right? And on the one hand, we have this great singularity that seems to be coming, of what we call ASI, which is artificial superintelligence, which superconsciousness, where man and machine are going to vanish into each other, and maybe that's the next evolution in AI becoming in everything for us, and running our lives and taking away, not only forget the jobs, it's just running everything. It's possible. And I think there is a movement for this thing called the singularity, which Ray Kurzweil and others are involved in, which is a very California thing. It's a Silicon Valley thing, and it's emerging. It's coming. So one part of the supermind is this super computer mind that's coming. The second part is what we call biohacking, the kind of quest for immortality. This idea of that we are, able to hack our bodies and live for hundreds of years and physically almost immortal, and that whole idea of biohacking our way, it's called transpersonal, transhumanism it's called, and transhumanism has a lot of billions being spent on it right now, from epigenetics to gene therapy to chemical therapies to extended neural networks, the whole thing. And then the third part is this idea of the yogi, the kind of wellness person, the kind of yoga and the science of living and longevity, and how well can I live into my 90s and hundreds, and that's coming also, But I want to talk about a different experiment right now. So I'm going to talk about something called the supermind, which is the integral yoga path to psychic evolution, right? This is a fascinating subject that we're working on, and I want to share with you. And it was developed originally by Sri Aurobindo and Mira Alfaza, called the mother, in Pondicherry in South India. And the theory was that they came together in 1912, they wrote a series of books, and they built an ashram called the Aurobindo Ashram. And it is said, and they believe, that an energy was brought down by their work that can change all of humanity, this idea of the supermind. And I will show you examples that is already happening right now, right? And they started a thing called Aurobindo Ashram in Pondicherry. And this was a beautiful place in a sleepy French town in southern India. She was French Algerian from French Egyptian from France, and she, an artist, a salon, mystic. She was a student of Max Theon and Theosophy and all the magical teachings of the Western occult ideas. And he was an English gentleman who became a freedom fighter and then quit all that and became a yogi and started this whole ashram, right? And they built this beautiful ashram, which is the most unusual ashram in India because there's no holy people. There's no orange-clad people, no monks. This is an ashram for personal psychic evolution. And, you can play tennis there, you contribute to community there, you art there, you have gardens and beautiful, and it's the most amazing place called Pondicherry. If you ever get a chance, I recommend it highly. And just to give you an idea of what happened, the ashram itself spawned off a whole bunch of people. So today, if you've heard of the California Institute of Integral Studies, that's from the ashram. If you've heard of Esalen, that's from the ashram. If you've heard of Oroville, that's from the ashram. If you've heard of the society, that's from the ashram. So the ripple did happen, right? What started there. And they built also a beautiful city called Oroville, which was a kind of universal consciousness city in that same area. And it was meant to be a city, and it still is. There are 2,000 people living there. No money, barter, everything self-sustainable, eco-designed to sustain. Arts, culture, creative, they export everything, and all the money comes back into the community. They build everything together, and it's amazing. It's just an amazing place. And this is an example. This was what it's like in 1970, and this is what it's like today. I mean, just think of that, from desert to complete greenification and all environmentally done, all with, no capitalism, no fighting each other, no politics, Of course, there's politics as human beings, they can't help it, but they do that. And they tried their very best, right? And it's a community. So people, thousands of people gather there every night and do celebrations, and they live together in a kind of harmony. And that led to a couple of people came out of it, especially Michael Murphy, who came out of the mother and working with the mother in the 50s and 60s. He came back to California, and then they started the California Institute of Integral Studies, which is the most kind of forward-thinking progressive university now in California, where we're exploring everything from human potential to psychology to East-West psychology to everything is being explored there. Amazing place, and you can do your PhD there, and it was started by a namesake of mine called Haridas Choudhury, and he was a student of Sri Aurobindo. So it all kind of, you can see the ripple. But I want to show you a different ripple. So just imagine, this was the ripple in 1912. Then by the 50s, we already had this ripple of California Integral Studies, Aurobindo Society, SLN, Auroville. And now when you look at and see the DNA spread of this ripple, you begin to see that we're actually talking about a conscious evolution of humankind if we let it happen. From universal basic income comes out of the CIIS experiments, conscious expansive tech and AI, psychedelic therapies and boundary dissolution, integral flow and positive psychology, integral wellness, conscious capitalism and business, effective altruism, democratic socialism, smart cities and energy systems, eco-diversity, expansive education and transhuman creative thinking, innovative food and agriculture. Now, you can't say that everything started here. No, it's a DNA was rippled from that moment idea in 1956 that has virally spread all over the world into all these things. So we are seeing the integral revolution, as they call it, the integral yoga revolution. And what they said was that all life was a kind of living in harmony. All life is yoga. How to become a super mind, right? And the mother defined it in 3 ways, and I want to share this with you now, which is, she called it wideness, plasticity, and equanimity, right? This is the secret to Dharma in the modern age. Eun, as you asking, what is Dharma? This is Dharma, okay? This is the new Dharma in the 21st century. What does wideness mean? Wideness means I am open-minded to all forms of thought. I'm not biased in my religion or my ethnicity or my color or my gender. I am open. I learn from all. I'm wide in my thinking, right? 1. Number 2, I'm plastic. Means I'm flexible. I bend and I move with what is needed. I work on probability rather than certainty. I work in a creative way in the world. And number 3, equanimity, which means I am centered and balanced in my core being. Samatha, what we call samatha in Buddhism, right? Samatha, this is samatha. So if I have these 3 traits, I am evolving psychically right now, today. And so there are 2 parts to this, they say, how to become supermind. 1 is I must apply will. I must do the work. I must sit and try and be my own guru, practice my yoga, be a good person, develop, harmony, practice good speech, practice good ethical work, practice all these things I do. And then I must open myself to an even more bigger idea, which is that there's a descent of a mind, of a supermind of the universe that can come into me. And that requires faith and grace in myself. So if I have faith and I have will, I become an integral yogi, right? That's the whole idea. And what does that mean? That it's, and I want to play you a little song that was developed, and it's a beautiful mantra that in Sanskrit means Anandamai, Chaitanyamai, Satyamai, Paramai, because the earth is our mother, the cosmos is our mother, everything is mother, right? In this teaching, the mother is the resonant factor. And if we say it, Anandamai, she is the beautiful bliss mother. Chaitanyamai, she is the consciousness mother. Satyamai, she is the truth mother. And Paramai, she is the divine mother. So if I have the mother, then I don't need God, I don't need shunya, I have bliss because I am in resonance with all of nature, all of you, and all of us, right? So, Anandamayi, Chaitanyamayi, Satyamayi Parame. Isn't that beautiful? All right, that's me done. Finish, talk over.
Raja, thank you for the intriguing presentation. I have a question for you,
Sure.
and then I'll open the floor to everybody here. What is the could you elaborate more on the CIIS and how it sprung from the
Sure.
three? Yeah,
So,
and how it's going.
in the early 50s, a center was opened in San Francisco called the Center for Asian American Studies, right? And the idea was that a bunch of Stanford people came together and they wanted to bridge Eastern philosophy and Western thinking together because nobody was doing it before. And so they brought Suzuki, Alan Watts, all these people together for the first time, right? And formed a center in San Francisco called the Institute of Asian American Studies. It was an amazing place. And they brought an Indian psychologist who was called Haridas Choudhury, who was a student of Sri Aurobindo, who had studied integral yoga, to come and bring the Indian dimension to it of yoga and Vedanta and all those teachings, right? And it was a great place. It went on for 2-3 years. They had symposiums and all the young people from the Beat generation to everybody hung out there. It was the place before the hippie movements and before the anti-war movements. It was the place, right? And a few good people came out of that. And when that dissolved, because they ran out of money, Haridas Choudhury started what was called the California Institute of Asian Studies, CIIS, that then became the California Institute of Integral Studies, right? And he started it in 1950s, around the same time that this experiment was going on in Aurobindo Ashram. And so they were all connected to each other. And Michael Murphy went at the same time to live in Aurobindo Ashram for a few years. And then he came back after spending time with the mother, Mira Alfaza, and he started Esalen. And Esalen and CIIS were the two kind of rocks that started the whole thing. That really, if you want to look back at integral psychology, flow psychology, everything you can think about in progressive modern thinking, right? Ions, all these places around California that you can imagine, all had their origins in these two places. So psychedelic research, all these amazing people. So Timothy Leary and Terence McKenna were all hanging out in Esalen, you know. It was, so you were either teaching at CIIS or you were at Esalen and talking and philosophizing about things, right? So the revolution started there, that rippled out of Sri Aurobindo Ashram back in India, right? That's the ripple, that's the connection, right?
Cool. Now, does anybody have a question? Feel free to ask your question to Raja.
And before I take questions, let me tell you that this is kind of spirituality, mysticism 2.0, okay? This is not the religion of your fathers and mothers. This is not Buddhism. This is not Hinduism. This is not, this is evolution of consciousness, right? Which learns from all the great traditions. So we learn from Vedanta, we learn from Tantra, we learn from the Nath Sampradaya, we learn. But where are we going as a humanity? That's the question that's being asked here, right? So the integral approach is not to say, I am this and I am that. The integral approach is to say, what do I learn from all that and where are we going? And the most important thing with the integral approach is to say to yourself that, am I becoming, because it's an idea of becoming, isn't it? Of becoming, not just being. Because being is important. Because Buddhism, Vedanta, all about being, idealism, this ideal that I'm going to be Brahman or Shunyata, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to achieve nirvana, or I'm going to have samadhi. But what integral yoga is asking you is, what are you becoming? As you become this yogi, are you going to make the world a better place? Are you going to be the bodhisattva and help others, right? And if you're not doing that, then what's the use of effing enlightenment? Excuse my language, you know? What's the use of enlightenment if you can't help anybody, right? So that's the question that Integral Yoga is asking. And so there is no school of Integral Yoga. There's no practice. It is self-personally guided evolution, right? But you can learn. You can learn from Swamiji, Yogi Surajnath. I can learn from him. I will sit with him in Benares, or I'll sit with him in Nepal, and we will learn, and we'll do Gorakshanath practices, and we'll do Alak Niranjan, and we'll pull down Alak Niranjan, and we'll bring it down, and we'll do Sham, and bring it down, and we'll pull it down and bring the goddess into the stomach and pull it out. Good. That's one tantric way of doing it. But is that the only way? No. I can integrate many, many beautiful ways, Matsyendranath in Kaula Jnana Tantra gave us all the teachings you need, that led to Hatha Yoga, that led to Kaula, that led to all these things. And we have learned so much, so we can keep that and integrate that, So it's beautiful. It is a beautiful approach that says that, look, I can be a tantric, I can be a Vedantin, but I'm not limited to that. Or I can be a Buddhist, I can be a Zen, I can do whatever I like. But the key is, am I a better human being? Am I evolving towards a supermind state where I am in resonance with this nature, with this mind behind everything, with this shunyata, with everything? Am I in resonance with that? That's the question we are asking,
Rajda,
Yes.
If allowed, I have a question about this idea of this Maitreya to you, that you are justifying it. But there are only two possibilities in our consciousness. One is enlightening. The idea of this being enlightened and nirvanic and absolutely enlightened, that is just. Let us not talk about that. That is just
Sure.
an idea for everybody.
That's one.
But
What's the other?
enlightening. Emptying is, if we are enlightened, emptying, that is the nirvana. That is the nirvana. And then absolute nirvana, whether it comes whatever way.
No, see, the difference between, you're right. And the question is not, the question is not whether to achieve nirvana or nirvikalpa samadhi or any of those things. That's not the question. The question is it enough for me to achieve my own enlightenment without coming and being of service and seva to the planet? This is the question, right? Now,
look.
No, wait, let me finish. Can we just stop? Can we just mute it for a second?
Okay.
Just 1 second. If I am pursuing enlightenment, but the whole world is going to Kal Agni Narak, burnt away, right? What have I achieved? What have I done for this world? Right? This is what Sri Aurobindo was asking. That how can you be awake and see anybody suffer? Not possible. Not possible. Compassion is the first outcome of enlightenment. Compassion. Let's take another question if you don't mind. I know I have limited time today.
Yes. Does anybody have a question for Raja before we move on to the next speaker? Yes, Christian Edmund.
I like it when the Gen Zs get involved and the millennials get involved. It's always good. We're messed up the planet enough for you guys, so we better fix it,
Sure. Thank you. So just my question is, acting from the heart center is seemingly like what the goal is and the mission is. And so what do you feel like is the 2.0 way of approaching kind of getting people to that place, as quick as possible and spreading the message as fast as possible? Because the point of getting there and becoming there and living there, you know, each person that kind of reaches that place has an ability to, on a grassroots level, have some effect or some change wherever they are. And I think that that's kind of what we're talking about, or what you're talking specifically about service and 𝗧𝗵𝗃, like that is place to come from the heart and to return to the heart. So in the 2.0 space of like leaving name and form and labels and just being in that resonance, I guess what are the ways and the most rapid ways that we personally can, you know, do this and everybody as well?
Well, you know, in the 60s, they actually thought that it could be psychedelics, right? Because that would be a good way to boundary dissolve and see the integral approach, right? But we now know that the rewiring of the synaptic pathways takes repetition, takes work, takes continuous work, right? So I think just beginning to work on yourself is enough, because that, and then repetition. So repetition is the only way that yoga really does work, right? But then it is about the stories you tell yourself. So for example, you talk about resonating from the heart, right? But why do we treat money not as energy? Why do we treat capital not as energy? Why do we treat community not as energy? Why don't we treat new ways of enterprise, new ways of education not as part of that? So I think that it's not just enough to serve and be seva. You can be entrepreneurial, you can be creative, you can look around the world, look at all the list I made of that. It's just amazing to see the possibilities when you take yourself and the ego out of the equation and you look for that super mind, that universal conscious mind to work together in some way, you know. Then you resonate with nature better, then you resonate with each other better. And I think that the secret is regular introspection and practice with action. You have to do both, right? Just to answer your question in the quickest way I can, right? Thank you. Okay, we have a V. A V is asking a question.
Yeah, I'll read it. V is asking, how do you offer help to others, or even have a proper definition of help coming from an unenlightened state?
Well, one of the things is that if you begin the path, all of you are here because you have somehow begun the journey on the path, right? All of you are here because of that, right? Nobody's here because I'm a selfish swine in the world trying to make blockchain capital. You know, whatever I'm trying to do, that's all I'm doing. You're here because something has opened in you, right? Now, once it opens, the first thing you're going to feel is immense empathy, pain, compassion for others, for the world, for the nature, for everything. You're going to feel that. There's no way you can avoid that one. Right? And the moment this is the Mahayana thinking of Buddhism, which is you cannot exist without feeling compassion if this begins to open, or the yoga starts to kick in, or the meditation starts to kick in. The second stage then is that, what can I do? How can I step up? Right? Now, it could be as simple as teaching a child. It could be as simple as therapy. It could be as simple as forming a company. It could be as simple as starting a new project. It could be as simple as teaching music. It doesn't matter. Whatever your gift is can become part of that integral whole in some way. And you got to find that way of taking it forward from there, you know. So don't worry about feeling impotent and helpless. You're not. You've got gifts. Go. Do with it something, you know.
Hello, Raja. I have another question. So I think in your
Who's this?
bio, it mentioned, hello, I'm V.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm curious about your app, your upcoming app that was described in your bio. How is it going to contribute, how to help humanity?
Well, see, back to the Christian's point, right? Which is that, first of all, how do I wake up, right? How do I start waking up, right? How do I open my heart? How do I develop these tool sets? So first thing of the app is going to do is to help people with short attention spans to develop some of those skills, right? That's going to be the key thing, right? Because what we found is, yeah, I do deep work where you can do hours of meditation training with me. That's different. But Can I do it in repetition, in 5-minute hacks, in 10-minute hacks? That's first step we're going to do with the app, is to start developing from multiple disciplines, mantras, breathing techniques, other techniques to bring you back to an integral position in your heart, right? The second part is then we're going to form what is called a resonance club, where we're going to ask you to then participate in a community. And that becomes the community we want to build, of whether it's action or participation or, and then that will grow from that. So we are seeing a kind of resonance community and personal cocoon sovereignty growth that we want to do, both things at the same time.
Does that have to do with the next generation? How can Gen Z attain enlightenment easily from what do you think is a step-by-step kind of guidance that you can give to Gen Zs?
I think that that the moment you begin to move towards sovereignty, that I am not a slave, I am in control of what I am going to do, that moment is the moment you've already begun the step-by-step dance, right? And that could be as simple as putting away a gadget for an hour. That could be as simple as learning to breathe. That could be as simple as learning to resonate with nature and community. Those are all going to be steps that you can take, but you first have to say, I am a sovereign being and not a slave to the system, not a slave to the algorithm, not a slave to the ecosystem, not a slave to the AI, and I can act. That's going to be the key, All right, I think I've taken up enough time. Let me not hog it. If you want to find me, you can join one of my programs and hang out at thousandsunsacademy.com or whatever you want to do. Just come hang out with us. We're a cooler of young and old people all working together to build this damn thing. So we need as many good people as possible. So come and join us.
Cool. Raja, thank you for answering everyone's questions thoughtfully. Those of you who asked questions, thank you for that. Now we're going to move into the third
𝗂𝗵𝗃.
speaker.
Blessings to everybody.
Yes. Our third speaker is Corinna Springer. German-born Corinna Springer is known spiritually as 𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃, Lotus of Wisdom. She has built a career uniting fashion, healing, and consciousness. After decades of representing leading designers through her New York agency 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗶, she turned inward, becoming a Reiki teacher and merging spiritual insights with creative expression. Her company, Cora Consulting, bridges spirituality and lifestyle through healing collaborations and creative experiences. Through 𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃, Cora, and her community practices in upstate New York, Corinna continues to unite energy, beauty, and awareness, inviting others into the transformative space where creativity meets consciousness. Corinna, over to you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Yoon. And I'm just blessed and honored to be in the presence of such amazing, wonderful souls here. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. I don't have a presentation prepared. 𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, so good to see you, Rajada. I was witnessing one of your talks a long time ago, and it's about Tantra, and it was really, really important for me. So thank you.
Blessings always.
Oh, God. So where do I start? Well, first of all, I wanted to maybe share from my perspective, my very humble perspective, okay? I've been dipping my toes into everything we talked about over the last 10, 15 years. And then I started a deep journey into Kabbalah over the last 4 years. And coming out of it, or at the other end of it more, it's been really interesting to see all the parallels, right, between all the different teachings, all the ways we use our breath to get into the body, the meditations, the mantras, and also the letters. And so there's something that I'm working with and that Yoon is aware of, and that is the divine names, 72 names of God. And it is the Hebrew language, Aramaic language, but I see, of course, also the parallel with the Sanskrit and with the way in Kashmir Shaivism, all of creation also came through the letters and through the perceptions, the senses, and everything we touched upon. And so what I have been doing with this Kabbalistic practice, because of course it is a little bit closer to my Western origin, I could have probably gone into learning everything in Sanskrit, and it would have taken a longer time for me. So I was blessed to find teachers here, and I started working with these beautiful letters that really are channels for energy, connecting the upper dimensional and the lower dimensional world, and bringing in that energy into my art, into paintings, and also into fabric, and really having beautiful testimonials of healing experiences with the letters, with the fabric, and just, seeing how this light is now here. This light is what can come through all of us at any moment. And it can be a miracle. It can just happen at this point. And what I also wanted to touch on, since this is what you have been talking about, is this idea of expanding consciousness and using all of the different teachings, all of the different experiences, and bringing them into a more integrated, integral wisdom. And I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the gene keys, but maybe that is something that we can use as well to continue this journey of awakening, and use the wisdom of the gene keys and the idea that all of what we experience is vibration, and we're simply moving from the mind into the heart, right? Or from the shadow frequencies into the higher frequencies. And what's so beautiful about the gene keys and also about Kabbalah is that the inner work that we're doing is affecting the whole, because we're part of the whole. And so when we start looking at our own shadow, and in Kabbalah it's termed the illumination of the left, when we go deep into the Zoharic teachings and we just start looking, what can I do better? Where did this come, not from the heart, but from the mind? Where did I calculate? Or where is my giving not real? When we go really granular with all of this and become very specific almost, and work with the divine in prayer and through the Kabbalistic calendar, in my case, we can have miracles happen, and we can start living at an archetypal level of experience. And at that archetypal level of experience, when our intention is, I'm doing this for the whole of humanity, then we are doing it for the whole of humanity. And so we can activate our gene keys, our gates, right? In human design, it's called the gates. And we can bring that awareness to the work and live our dharma, live our archetypal design. And when we are in that archetypal, there's just miracles and things happening that we couldn't even imagine, and blessings and light. And I think that's where we are right now. And it was so interesting. It was like all this talk about AI, and you brought in the singularity. And when that became something I became aware of a few years ago, And then at the same time, I was going into the gene keys. I was like, well, this is exactly the antidote, right? It's like we're using the gene keys that bring together all the spiritual lineages in the synthesis. And we use contemplation, for example, inner awareness, prayer, meditation, anything to work with these currents, these energetic currents. Then we can activate the 𝗬𝗓 frequencies, the divine frequencies, the gift frequencies, and we get to that next level in our journey, and we can beat the singularity. So, and I just wanted to share maybe, you know, in that sense, the 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗶𝗃, I believe, said that the founder of the Kabbalah Center, the singularity in Kabbalistic terms is when we share, when we are, you know, when everyone is sharing, when we are the unity consciousness before anything else. So, and then in a way, and I've experienced it that way, AI is also the light. So it just depends on our way of relating to it as well. So thank you so much. I'm so blessed to be here with all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Corinna, thank you for your love and service to humankind, humanity. And I've known you for 4 years now. And could you say a little bit more about how gene keys, human design, astrology can accelerate person's evolutionary growth for a person who might not have heard of this before, to spiritual
Oh,
technique?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So it is energy flows where attention goes, right? So when we start looking at certain things, characteristics, symbolics in our astrological chart, whether it is through traditional astrology or the gene keys that are basically highlighting different degrees, a set of 6 degrees. So all in all, it actually is based on the I Ching, and it's 6 degrees per gate. So we have 64 gates, the same way we have the 64 hexagrams. So when we pinpoint our attention to one of the gates that Richard Rudd, the founder of the Gene Keys and a student of human design, he had a transmission coming through him over the course of, I think, 3 days and then 3 years to elaborate on it. All of them have the shadow frequency of that archetype, the gift frequency, and the 𝗬𝗓 frequency. In the shadow frequency, for example, it could be, let's take the example of the 55th gene key. At the shadow, it's victimhood. At the gift frequency, it's freedom. So in the victimhood, it is blaming or complaining and basically not taking responsibility for the state someone is in. And when we become aware of that pattern simply through looking at the gene keys or reading about it or seeing it even in someone else's chart, we become aware of, wait a minute, I have been blaming the outside for this, that, and the other over the past few years. Let me take responsibility. Let me see it as a mirror. Where is the mirror showing me where I need to take responsibility for my state, for my situation, for my finances, for whatever it is? And so every gene key is mirroring something to us that we may not have been aware of. There's a beautiful other gene key, and that relates a little bit to Tantra and the senses, and that is the 46 gene key. The 46 gene key, the shadow is seriousness. So when I first came across the gene keys, and that is in my profile, the 46 gene key seriousness, I was like, that's not a shadow. It's like, oh yeah, it is a shadow actually, because it brings you way too much into the mind as well. At the opposite, at the gift and 𝗃 frequencies, it's ecstasy. So when you transform the attachment to matter and to the experience of reality through the mind, and you come into the gift frequency of the heart, then you can actually experience that same energy that was seriousness as ecstasy. So it really is like it's bringing in so much from so many different lineages, spiritual traditions, and even shamanism. And so I encourage everyone to, if they want a practical tool to look at their quote unquote shadows, and also to have more compassion for other people in their lives as they read about their gene keys. It's an amazing, amazing way to start. So to really do the shadow work. Does that answer your question, Eun?
Yeah, let's ask the audience do you have any questions? Anybody feel free to ask Corinna a question related to her topic. Yes, Raja. Raja, yes.
Actually, I don't have a question, but I would love to invite you to come and talk to our community if whenever you want. So it would be great to come.
Oh,
we have thousands on YouTube and hundreds in our community. So it'd be great for you to come one Sunday and talk to us. All right.
I would love that, Raja.
I will be in touch. I'll be in touch.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Any comments? Question? Yes, Christian, go ahead.
As I was like listening, and I think that you were like referencing like money and different kind of things like with the shadow, and I know. So I guess I could you like elaborate a little bit more about like the necessity, I guess, in Kabbalah about like the resistance of the shadow to this other side of the thing, and like I guess like gaining because it sounds like transmutation in a specific way of like taking this like impression that might come from somewhere else. I guess like for myself, or my feelings around money could have come from a societal story, and then like the way of transmuting that story into on the other side of what you're talking about is the gift. And then so I guess like just that gaining the initial awareness, I guess, in all these different parts of your life. Maybe you just like expand a little bit about that.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks. Yes. I think if I understand your question right, it's very much about, becoming aware of certain subconscious belief systems that we're not even aware of it, right? Because society is imprinting us with certain things, and we have cultural programming, we have political, societal programming, we have so many programmings and experiences and trauma and past life and this and that. So it's like all of this lives in our subconscious mind. And I like to always take as a symbolic help, we have our physical body, we have our etheric body that stores everything. We have the emotional body, mental body, and spiritual body. And those sort of form our lower bodies, right? And then we have the upper spiritual causal and all of that, Buddhic. And when we become aware through tools like the gene keys, or just meditation, or just becoming aware of, wait a minute, this situation is repeating all the time. What is it teaching me? So we become aware of a certain belief system. Well, what do I believe that I'm experiencing this all the time? What must I believe that I didn't know about that this is happening all the time? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you. That makes sense. Yeah.
And then I have a specific thing that I teach, and that is vow breaks. So once I have that, I'm a victim of, or I'm being bullied by my finances, right? I'm not just being bullied as a child, as a teenager. It continues actually with my money situation, for example. So if I have that belief, I'm being bullied by the outside circumstances, whatever it is, there's a simple formula that I usually bring in, and that's called a vow break. I rescind any and all vows, agreements, contracts, oath, subconsciously, consciously pertaining to. And then I put in that negativity of like being a victim to financial pitfalls or crisis or whatever it is. And with the energy work that I'm doing, I had an experience in 2014 where I was sort of downloading all the light. I was led up the tree, and then it was just the tree of life, and then this energy came down, and it took years and years and years and years to integrate. But I'm using this energy and transmissions to help with with these vow breaks, for example, so that we can cut through it. I know Richard Rudd says contemplation, being patient, being embodied, and I'm like, no, let's use the light. So does that make sense? Does that resonate?
Yeah, it does. I also had like a 2014 experience. I was just like, oh,
Oh,
whole thing.
awesome.
But yes,
Okay, cool.
yeah. But that was so,
Let's
yeah, that
talk.
was so, yeah, that was so helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Yay. Yeah, I'm happy to connect.
Anybody else with any questions for Corinna? Cool. Corinna, I have a question. I know we have been doing meditation for now 3 years. Could you briefly say, with the intention to inspire our audience who might be going through suffering right now, how did you get started with this looking inward path? You started from the fashion industry, and you spoke about that.
Thank you for that question. I was sick. I was in terrible physical pain for 1.5 years. Endometriosis, cysts. I couldn't eat anything. I had to change my diet drastically. I thought I would never be able to eat normally again. And I was bedridden. I had to put everything into the very capable hands of my assistant at the time. I experienced a miraculous healing through internal work, through realizing all these belief systems and vows that were in place about being a woman, about pregnancy, about all kinds of things that created the illness. And, I'd been already a Reiki teacher at that time, so my channels were kind of open, and I kind of taught myself how to go into the inner realms and to figure out what archetypal things were happening, what needed to change, how I could change it. And one of the most important things was self-love at that time. And after the miraculous healing, I was just inspired to, go to the next level with all of this. And then the living light happened. But in the meantime, it was like, I can't be in fashion anymore. It's too superficial. And this is more important, to help people see that these other realities exist and that they actually are the cause, or that the cause for a lot of suffering is at these higher levels or deeper levels of reality, and not in our physical 3D experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I love that period of your life fueled you to move forward into the light and build Dharma and community. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Cinda, please.
Yeah. Hi, Corinna. Thank you so much for that. I had a question in regards to doing inner work. Do you feel like when you do that sort of inner, almost like a washing inside, where you're sweeping all the conditioning and changing your belief systems, when you do that, do you feel like you're bringing an actual change in the physical surroundings around you, or is it purely internal?
No, it's absolutely, it has a very effective change on the outside, and it usually starts with feeling a shift energetically after the session or after the vow break, or whatever you're doing. And then you can see how people around you change also because your belief systems have changed and certain situations don't occur anymore because you kind of learned your lesson and you realized, wait a minute, I don't need to be that anymore for that person. So then they stop doing that as well. Like they stop, bullying you, if that was the case, for example, to take back that example. Does that make sense?
Yes, it absolutely makes sense. Thank you so much. That was just
Oh,
so
my
clear.
pleasure.
Yeah.
All right, Corinna, how do we find you?
Oh, my website is 𝗂𝗶𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗀, which is 𝗊𝗄𝗃.co. So not .com, .co. Then Instagram is Heart-Based Reality, I believe.
Cool. Thank you very much, Corinna.
Thank you.
Okay, now let us move on to our fourth speaker. Ties beautifully with Raja's earlier question about who are you. So my name is Eun J. I'm an executive coach and educator who has guided over 5,000 students and leaders toward emotional resilience and language skills and authentic connection. I was born in Korea and raised in US. I've been going back and forth, and my personal journey through loneliness, anxiety, and healing shaped my life's work. I studied at Stanford Graduate School of Business Lead Program, and I founded Spirituality Happiness Institute. My mission is simple. I would like to help people reconnect with themselves and cultivate wisdom, compassion, and inner peace in a fast-paced digital world. So I'm grateful that you are all here. I am going to speak about the hidden wisdom that you may not have heard about it before. Have you ever wondered why life holds so many mysteries and why uncertainty follows us like a shadow? No matter how much we plan, how hard we try, how clearly we think we see the road ahead, there are times when everything seems clear and suddenly the light disappears. Plans collapse, hopes dissolve, and we find ourselves in the middle of a fog of darkness. And in that darkness, questions arise. Why me? Why now? What did I do wrong? In the ancient way of seeing, life's mysteries are not problems to solve, but teachers to listen to. Mystery is not chaos. It is the hidden rhythm of the cosmos. Uncertainty is not punishment. It is the invitation to awaken. When everything is known, the ego grows proud. When something becomes uncertain, the soul becomes humble. And humility opens the inner eye. The hidden reasons we go through tough times is not that the universe is cruel, but that the universe is compassionate enough to break our illusions. And through struggle, we begin to see the truth, that our control is only partial, and our trust must become total. Darkness teaches what light cannot. Silence reveals what words cannot express. In ancient India, the sages spoke of a divine power, one that frees us from shackles of comfort and awakens us often through discomfort. The Divine Mother blesses with this loving wisdom. The seers knew 𝗵𝗽𝗀𝗃𝗶 as the divine who liberates humans from limitations and blessings with embodiment of transcendence. The divine one who strips away false hope so the truth can shine naked. When life takes away what you thought you needed, perhaps something deeper is trying to emerge. Perhaps you're being guided to see beyond the veil of appearances. The divine blessings of the Divine Mother guide sincere seekers to see the truth behind life's mysteries. Her blessings help us recognize the hidden reasons behind our uncertainties. our struggles, and our unpredictable experiences. Uncertainty scares us because they make us feel powerless. But once we realize that even uncertainty is filled with touch of the divine, a deep peace arises. The future may remain uncertain, but our hearts become certain in trust. That is freedom. That is bliss. When we embrace uncertainty, we begin to experience the unknown, not as danger, but as the sacred dance of life itself. Through her grace, devotees learn to see even seeming darkness as another divine light. And they find dharma, they find strength, and they find fulfillment in the most unexpected ways. By the Divine Mother's grace, may we all learn to see clearly through the fog of life. May we find the courage to walk through darkness, knowing that every shadow is a teacher, and every uncertainty hides a blessing. 𝗷𝗵𝗃𝗶𝗃𝗃𝗏. Now, I would love to share you a video speaking about the secret wisdom of ancient sages revealed. Okay, so this is a great demonstration of why not to panic. Maybe there's a divine...
Never panic. This is all fun and games. Anyway, you call 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗶. 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗶 always does this.
Okay.
the 𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗏 just love playing games with us. It's okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh, the rishis. Rishi Sunak, the British politician, isn't someone I'm speaking about. Imagine a time before books or schools when the wisest teachers learned their lessons straight from nature. These were the rishis, the ancient sages whose insights shape our world. The word rishi comes from Sanskrit for seer, one who looks deeply into life's mysteries. Between 1500s and 500 BCE, in India and later in Tibet, rishis listened to the wind, the stars, and the beating heart of the earth. And from their silent vigil, they composed the Vedas, hymns, and teachings that still guide us today. More than mystics, rishis served as advisors to kings and communities, speaking truth to power, to uphold dharma, doing what's right, even when it was hard. In Tibet, their spirit lived on in hermit. Yogis who retreat to the high mountains then return to teach compassion and heal people and resolve conflict. And showing that inner work fuels social good. Today, we inherit their legacy. Listen to your inner truth and have the courage to act on what's right, and let service to others be your measure of success. Can you awaken the sage within? Now I will play the second video about 𝗵 Tara. The Divine Mother 𝗵 Tara is fierce as well as all gracious and compassionate. As her fear expression, 𝗵 Tara protects all sincere seekers from all dangers. As the approachable, benevolent Divine Mother, she guides sincere seekers to cross the ocean of worldly existence and to attain liberation from ego, worldly bondages, and karma. There is not a society in existence which was not touched by the communities which worships 𝗵 Tara, the Divine Mother who is depicted as tender, loving, and fierce protective to her children. The divine form of 𝗵 Tara is not limited to one culture, one nation, or one religion. 𝗵 Tara has been recognized across the Himalayas, Asia, Europe, and beyond. Different communities, different languages, yet the same presence recognized with different names and depiction. In ancient India, 𝗵 Tara has been recognized mainly with 8 divine forms: 𝗵 𝗵𝗃𝗏, 𝗵 𝗵𝗃𝗏𝗃, 𝗵𝗽𝗀𝗃𝗃, 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, 𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃, 𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃, 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗃, and 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗃. You can learn more information from www.𝗵-𝗃𝗏.com. She is recognized as 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗃, the cosmic divine mother. Her depiction stands dark-skinned with unkempt hair, wearing necklace of skulls, sword in hand, and standing on top of Lord Shiva. Each symbolism hides lessons. Skull symbolizes liberation from ego. Sword symbolizes cutting through ignorance. Unkempt hair symbolizes existence beyond ordinary reality. In Buddhism, Mā Tara is recognized as the divine mother of all Buddhas. In some traditions, she is symbolized to be born from the tears of Avalokiteshvara. In other traditions, she herself is Avalokiteshvara. She is depicted and recognized as Kuan around China, as an important deity in East Asian religions, including Chinese folk religion and Taoism. Tibetan Buddhist sects recognized Mā Tara as Mata Bodhisattva Tara. In Tibetan Buddhism, Mā Tara is recognized as Palden Lamo, believed as the wrathful protector of Tibetan Buddhism and the fierce emanation of Vajra Sarasvati. She is believed to be the primary wisdom protector, protecting against ignorance, obstacles, and worldly dangers with formidable strength. In Tibetan and Buddhism sects, Mā Tara is recognized with 21 manifestations. 1. Jetsun Dorma Nirma Pamo, the liberator. 2. Loter Yang Chenma, the divine mother of melodies and knowledge. 3. Sonam Topche, the divine bestower of ever-increasing merit and prosperity. 4. Songtor Nyam Gyamma, the divinely victorious one of the Ushnista. 5. Wangdu Rigje Lamo, the divine bestower of supreme attractive power. 6. Jigje Chenmo, the divine wrathful subjugator mother. 7. 𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗃𝗃, the unconquerable divine mother. 8. 𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗃𝗃, the invincible divine mother. 9. Sengdeng Nakchi, the green Mā Tara of Acacia Forest. 10. Jigten Sule Gyarma, the divine mother who is ever victorious over 3 worlds. 11. Phagma Norter Dorma, the divine bestower of prosperity. 12. Tasi Donje, the divine provider of auspiciousness. 13. Yule Gyalma, the divine bestower of victory in war. 14. Tronyer Chen, the divine mother, divinely wrathful. 15. Rabzima, the divine mother who bestows peace. 16. Reigyang Tobjom, the divine mother, destroyer of malicious spells intentions. 17. Pagme Nonma, the divine mother who removes all obstacles. 18. Maja Chenmo, the divine mother who protects from all poison and darkness. 19. 𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃, the divine mother protecting without prejudice. 20. Rito Loma Jonma, the divine mother of the hermitage who is leaf-clad. And finally, 21. Lamo Ozer Chenma, the divine mother of illumination. Each divine form of Mā Tara protects, heals, and guides humanity towards their liberation. The divine forms of Mā Tara have been found all across Europe, recognized with many sacred and secret names and depiction. In Europe, it is said she has been recognized as Black Madonnas and fierce virgin archetypes. Many throughout history have attempted to hide history and burn truth through witch hunting, but it is impossible to hide truth ultimately. Blessings of Mā Tara run across cultures, history, beyond human-made labels. Wherever the Divine Mother Mā Tara has been recognized by communities, their spirituality flourished. Wherever compassion, protection, and fierce truth appear, there Mā Tara has been recognized by communities. She blesses you where you are. And when the time comes, Mā Tara blesses you with liberation across cultures, promise of 𝗵 Tara remains. I'll be there until the last soul is saved.
I didn't realize you were a 𝗵 Tara Bhakt. I would have told you many things before.
Raja, we can talk in the future.
Yeah, I teach the Dash Mahavidya, so it's very, very nice to hear.
Yeah, I've been watching you.
Thank you. Good.
Okay.
I like the way you're unifying it across Asia. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring her to the West now. It's good. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. So now I'm going to share a bit about the Enlightenment Day, as Raja's question earlier, and introduce you about Spirituality Happiness Institute. So today is an Enlightenment Day, and we're celebrating together in 2025. And our focus is awaken your inner light. And all of our speakers have done that beautifully from their way of expressing their divinity. And we're dedicated to upholding the ancient spiritual traditions all over the world in the right light, preserving their integrity while introducing the lost wisdom. And I'm a founder of Spirituality Happiness Institute. Our mission is to bridge the spirituality and science, the division, as we spoke of earlier. We want to blend them together, merge them, marry them. And part of our facilitator or part of our team is people at CIIS, as mentioned, Stanford, and so on. So what we want to do is talk about it with public, about the scientific way of viewing mysticism. Eventually, the focus is to bring people into finding their divinity inwards, so in inner peace, inner wealth, inner happiness. These are the goals that we have in mind. Okay, our final segment of the Enlightenment Day event. And I'll explain with you about a meditation called Yantric Meditation of Tantra. This presentation is made by Baraji in Addistan. It's a temple in Glastonbury. The spiritual benefits of this meditation is that it explores Mahasri Yantra karma transformation and releasing negative patterns and guiding practitioners toward spiritual purification and enhanced mindfulness. And this meditation is very powerful. It's an authentic technique of Tantra from the Himalayas. Yogis in Himalayas are said to have taken blessings of this Mahayantra and achieved supernatural powers, also called siddhis. This technique is a public version of an authentic Himalayan technique of the rishis, sages, and such practices are only allowed to be shared with proper initiation and permission. And I have taken permission of my guru to share this public version with you. This technique is called yantra etching. It's similar to a tattoo in someone's body. Yantra etching, a tantric power is ingested and it clears karma and initiates one to path of Kundalini awakening. And it involves visualizing a yantra in your mind and become the mantra yantra and internalizing the yantra and chanting the Ma Gayatri mantra. And it takes about 5 to 10 minutes or longer, depends on person to person. And this process is very personal as the method is very alive. It would involve accessing and activating your third eye. And if you feel uncomfortable, you can choose not to participate in this session and watch without participating. Have a look at this yantra. The Mahasri Yantra is a sacred geometric diagram that serves as a powerful tool for meditation, spiritual transformation, and connection to divine energy. Could you have a look at the very middle part of this yantra? There's a dot. It's called Bindu. Relaxed gaze. Have a look. Now here's what we need to do to prepare. Complete silence. Maintain a sense of sacredness in the mind. Think we're entering a sacred territory right now together. and ignite a candle in the room will gather energy. So please look at the Mahayantra. Step 1, initiation. See if it comes alive to you in a way that logical mind cannot comprehend. Then step 2, look at your third eye. So with your 2 eyes, opened eyes, look up where the third eye is, and then rotate your eye clockwise 1 full circle. And step 3, please close your eyes. This step 3 is called internalizing. Bring the Mahayantra to your third eye. So now your eyes are all closed. Now step 5. With your eyes closed, imagine a fire in your third eye burn through your third eye. And we're going to chant 3 times with me, the Gayatri mantra. So imagine fire burning all over your body. And say with me, 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗀𝗵 𝗪𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗃𝗃 𝗃𝗏𝗂𝗵𝗃𝗏 𝗃𝗏𝗄𝗏 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗃𝗏 𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗀𝗪𝗃 𝗃𝗏𝗄𝗏𝗪𝗏 𝗃𝗏𝗄𝗏 ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्. We do that 9 times today. We have time to do 8 more times together. And let us try. Okay, step number 1. Please look at the Mahayantra again. Step 2, look with your eyes open to your third eye. So gaze up and rotate your eyes counterclockwise. And close your eyes. Lock it. Bring the Mahayantra to your third eye with eyes closed. Hold it. And imagine the fire burn through your third eye. And at the same time, we will chant 3 times. ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्. Okay, number 3, third time. Please look at the Mahayantra. With relaxation. And now look at your third eye and rotate your eyes counterclockwise. And close your eyes. Lock it. And let us bring the Mahayantra to your third eye. And imagine a fire burn through your third eye all over your body. And we will chant 3 times. ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्. Fourth round, please have a look at the Mahayantra. The middle part of the yantra. It's called 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗃, the circular point. And now, look at your third eye. Rotate your eyes counterclockwise and close. Lock it. And bring Mahayantra to your third eye. And imagine fire burning through your third eye all over your body. ॐ भूर्भुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्. Fifth round, look at the Mahayantra. Okay, with relaxation. And look at your third eye and rotate your eyes counterclockwise. And then close your eyes. And bring the Mahayantra to your third eye. And imagine fire burning through your third eye all over your body. Burning karma. Samskara. Om Bhurvuvvatsvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्. Sixth round, look at the Mahayantra and see if it comes alive and you're making relationship, connection with this yantra. We're etching the yantra into you like a tattoo. Look at your third eye and rotate your eyes counterclockwise and close. Bring the Mahayantra to your third eye. And let the fire burn through your third eye and your body. Burning. Om Bhurvuvvatsvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं 𝗲𝗲𝗳𝗏स्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्. Seventh round. Please look at the Mahayantra